Students, in the previous video lecture, we have learned about photodiode. We have discussed about photodiode, and the second optoelectronic device is light emitting diode, and the third electronic device is photovoltaic cell. Today we will be learning about LED and also photovoltaic cell, the principle behind construction of LED and also photovoltaic cell. As these are applications of junction diode, a junction diode, when properly biased, can be acted as a photodiode or a LED or a photovoltaic cell. And in this session, now we will be learning about light emitting diode. This is also known as LED. In our daily life, we will be using LEDs in different cases. In remote control, there will be one light emitting diode present in front, and similarly for decoration purpose we will be using light emitting diodes. And of course, now the headlights of bikes, automobiles and cars, they are being replaced with light emitting diodes, and the street lights are also replaced with light emitting diodes. So there are many practical utilities with light emitting diodes. So how to construct a light emitting diode, and how does a junction diode behaves as light emitting diode, we will learn now. So this is light emitting diode, where light emitting diode, which is simply called as LED, a light emitting diode is heavily doped PN junction diode. It is heavily doped PN junction diode which is acting under forward bias. So light emitting diode is simply a PN junction diode which should be connected in forward bias. And when you are connecting a junction diode in forward bias, it emits spontaneous radiations. It itself will emit spontaneous radiations, and this diode is encapsulated with a transparent cover so that emitted light can come out. This is the principle of construction of light emitting diode. So now this is a junction diode. Junction diode should be connected in forward bias, right? You should connect the junction diode in forward bias. This is positive terminal of the battery, and this is negative terminal of the battery. Positive terminal is connected to P type, it is P type, and this is N type. P type is connected to positive terminal, N type is connected to negative terminal. Therefore, this junction diode is connected in forward bias. And remember that this junction diode is heavily doped. This junction diode is heavily doped. As this junction diode, as it is being heavily doped, number of electrons and number of holes are usually greater than a normal junction diode. Usually, because this is heavily doped than that of usual junction diode, number of electrons and number of holes, that means both minority charge carriers and majority charge carriers will be slightly increased in number than that of usual junction diode in case of LED. So you should dope it heavily. As a result, minority charge carriers increases and majority charge carriers also increases. And such heavily doped junction diode is connected in forward bias. When it is connected in forward bias, what happens is electric field is set up within this junction diode from positive to negative type. This is electric field setting up in the junction diode. As electric field is right side, holes will be traveling in the same direction. This is a hole. Hole is forced to move in the same direction, and the electron in this n type is forced to move in opposite direction. Hole is forced to move in this direction, electron is forced to move in this direction. So as a result, majority charge carriers will be going from the p type. Majority charge carriers are holes. Holes will be moving in the direction of electric field. And from the n type, majority charge carriers are electrons. Electrons are forced to move in opposite directions. And at the depletion region, this is the depletion region where this is depletion region, right? In depletion region, there will be minority and majority charge carrier. Of course, depletion region is free from charge carriers, but due to electric field provided in the junction diode, minority charge carriers. Yeah, students, you can see the animation which is provided here. From n type, electrons are forced to move left side, and from p type, holes are forced to move right side. As the electrons and holes are moving in opposite direction to each other, they come closer to depletion region, which is shown in the animation. And when the positive and negative both are being recombined with each other, it releases some energy. See, one positive charge and one negative charge. Positive charge mean that it is hole, negative charge mean that it is an electron. Electron and hole, they both come closer to each other, and at the depletion region, near to the depletion region or within the depletion region, they get recombined with each other. When they recombine with each other, it is producing light energy, and that light energy is emitted by junction diode, so that it is said to be as light emitting diode. And in this case, what is happening? We are providing electrical energy. Electrical energy is converted into light energy. Electrical energy is converted into light energy. Such type of diode which converts electrical energy into light energy is called light emitting diode. Practically, light emitting diodes, that is LED, are more advantageous than that of incandescent and as well as fluorescent bulbs. Incandescent bulbs are those bulbs which we generally use, which is like this. They are called incandescent bulbs. This is incandescent bulb where you will have a filament, and this is incandescent bulb. And fluorescent bulbs are tube lights. This is fluorescent, and this is incandescent. Rather than these two traditional light emitting devices, LEDs are more advantageous than that of usual incandescent and as well as fluorescent bulbs. What are those advantages? Let us discuss now. So LEDs can emit multiple color lights, like it can emit red light, yellow, orange, green and blue. Therefore, in most of the cases, LEDs are used for decoration. Multiple colors it is able to emit. But fluorescent chokes and incandescent bulbs, they can emit only in one particular wavelength. They can give light in only one particular wavelength. So one bulb will be emitting only one color light. But this LEDs can emit multiple colors at the same time. So that is one advantage. And LEDs can individually emit different colors and multiple lights at the same time. That is one advantage, and these all are commercially available. And the semiconductor which is used for fabrication of visible LEDs must at least have a band gap of 1.8 electron volt. Usually, energy band gap for a junction diode is nearly 1 electron volt, but for LED, energy band gap is nearly equal to 1.8 electron volt. That is one more important thing which you should remember. And the spectral range of visible light varies from 0.4 micrometer to 0.7 micrometer. This is usually visible range. Visible range light is from 7,000 angstrom to 4,000 angstroms to 7,000 angstrom. So all the LEDs which emit light, they are generally providing a visible range of light. That's one advantage. And the light emitted by these LEDs, they have energy of nearly 3 electron volt to 1.8 electron volt, because as the junction diode, which is having energy band gap of 1.8 electron volt or even slightly greater than 1.8 electron volt, is used as LED. So therefore, the emitted spectral range has the range of 3 electron volt to 1.8 electron volt. These all values are very important. They can be asked in theory questions. And LED can be manufactured by a compound semiconductor device. Generally, it is gallium arsenide phosphorus. Gallium arsenide phosphide, this is the usual chemical symbol, chemical formula of that particular LED, which is used in making LEDs of different colors. Gallium arsenide phosphide, which has an energy band gap of 1.9 electron volt, is used for red LED. So it usually emits red light. And gallium arsenic, which is having an energy band gap of 1.4 electron volt, is used in making infrared LED. Infrared LED can be made by using gallium arsenic semiconductor, whose energy band gap is 1.4 electron volt. And these LEDs have extensive use in remote controls and burglar alarm systems and optical communications, etc. And extensive research is being done for developing white LEDs which can replace incandescent lamps. So now even these days we are using tube lights, but few years later, we will be replacing all these incandescent bulbs and tube lights, fluorescent bulbs, with LEDs only. So that is advantage of LED rather than that of usual light emitting devices. And the advantages involve: number one, low operational voltage and less power, as the semiconductor uses DC and just 110 volt is necessary to operate junction diode and these semiconductors. That's the reason why it is low operational voltage and less power consumed, and fast action and no warm-up time required. For a tube light, when you switch on, it takes some time to glow. But here it is not like that. A LED will give immediate response to the electrical energy. So therefore it is fast in action and no warm-up time required. That's one more advantage. And number three is the bandwidth of emitted light is in the range of 100 angstrom to 500 angstrom. In other words, it is nearly monochromatic. Like the bandwidth of emitted light can be even monochromatic also. It can be white light and as well as monochromatic. LEDs can emit both the wavelengths of light. And the other advantage is it has long life and ruggedness, and it is fast on off switching capacity. So these all make LEDs unique than that of normal light emitting devices. These all are the advantages of LEDs. So now we are going to replace LEDs with normal light emitting devices like tube lights and incandescent bulbs. are now being replaced. These days we have got LED bulbs, so they replace all these normal light emitting devices. That's about LED. The other device which is made up of junction diode is a solar cell, and in a solar cell light energy gets converted into electrical energy. The solar energy is usually converted into voltage. That is what it is said to be as photovoltaic effect. And the working principle of solar cell is identical to photodiode. A photodiode is connected in reverse bias, and in the reverse bias, when it is operated at particular voltage, at the junction diode, electron hole pairs are being generated. They will be moving in opposite direction because it is in reverse bias, and as a result, it gets converted to electrical energy. Same thing happens here also in case of solar cell. Now, in case of a solar cell, this is the practical operating solar cell looks like this in the animation. Like this is practical solar cell which is provided in this figure. We have PN junction diode. This is P type and this is N type, and this is the junction, PN junction. It is this black color line indicate that it is PN junction. P type consists of holes and N type consists of electrons. So P type and N type semiconductors are being over here, and upon this N-type semiconductor there is a front contact. There is a front contact, and this is made up of, like, it is glass. This top surface, it is made up of glass because it is able to absorb light energy. Like N-type semiconductor is able to absorb light energy, which is said to be as photons energy, and this is back contact. So one is front contact and the other one is back contact, and these all are metal plates. Back contact is made up of a metal plate, and front contact is also made up of metal plate. Right? Now what actually happens, you can see in the animation. Principle is the same as that of photodiode. When the light is incidented in the depletion region, both electron hole pairs are being generated over there. Because electron hole pairs are generated over there, they will be pulled by the electric field which is connected in reverse bias, as there are metal plates in the front contact and back contact. Electrons and holes will be attracted towards those metal plates, resulting in generation of voltage. That is photovoltaic effect. You can see that in the animation. Clearly you can see that in the animation. The electron hole pairs which are being generated over there, see, light is incidented, and when the light is incidented, electrons and holes, they are getting separated, and separated electrons and holes, they will come in contact with front contact and back contact. Positive charges will be coming to back contact, negative charges coming to front contact, and they discharge through the bulb. When those electrons and holes discharge through this bulb, that bulb will be glowing. So this is how a solar cell works out. You can see that in the animation clearly. Unlike a photodiode, a solar cell is not given any biasing. We are not providing any battery for the solar cell, but for a photodiode, we will be providing battery. For solar cell, we are not providing battery. It acts as battery. That's the difference between a photodiode and a solar cell. It supplies EMF like an ordinary cell. When sunlight is not, like, when sunlight is incidented upon the photodiode, like when it is incidented upon the solar cell, electrons and holes, they get separated, and they were being pulled towards positive and negative plates which are acted on, which are like front contact and back contact metal plates are there, no? So these get dragged or pulled towards those metal plates. As a result, it provides constant potential difference. So therefore, always you need not require solar energy. It just acts as a battery. That is one advantage of solar cell. Semiconductors with a band gap nearly equal to 1.5 electron volt are ideal materials for solar cell fabrications. For solar cell fabrication, you need to make use of those junction diodes which are having nearly band gap of 1.5 electron volt. Silicon, gallium arsenic are preferred materials for solar cells. And the selection of solar material is depending upon the band gap. Its range should be 1 electron volt to 1.8 electron volt. And these should have high optical absorption. So those materials which has high optical absorption, that means which absorbs light energy, they are selected as solar materials. And these semiconductors should have good electrical conductivity, and this should be available as the raw material and the cost effectiveness. So these all are important things which you need to keep in your mind in order to construct a solar material. And the graph, VI graph plotted for the solar cell is in the fourth quadrant, because we are taking voltage from the solar cell. We are not providing the voltage to the solar cell, we are not biasing it. So remember that solar cell is not biased. That is, it is not provided with voltage. It acts as battery. It supply the voltage. It supply the voltage, right? So that is the reason why you will be getting graph in the fourth quadrant, and this is saturation current, and voltage is being produced depending upon the saturation current. So how many number of electron hole pairs are being generated, that much amount of current is produced, and as a result of that you will be getting potential difference between those two metal plates depending upon number of electrons and holes generated over there. That's the working principle of solar cell. These are the three uses of junction diode. Number one, not only three, we can use junction diode as switch. We can use junction diode as Zener diode. Zener diode can be used as voltage regulator. And number three, junction diode is used as a rectifier. Number four, junction diode are used in optoelectronic devices. They can be used in optoelectronic devices. Optoelectronic devices are photocell or photodiode, and number two, light emitting diode, and number three, solar cells. Right? These are the three optoelectronic devices which are manufactured with a junction diode.